confirmed the strikes destroyed a rocket and space industry facility. On his trip to Ukraine, which came days after a visit to Moscow, Guterres said intense discussions were underway to evacuate civilians from a besieged steelworks in Mariupol.
US President Joe Biden is asking Congress to approve $33 billion in new funding of security, economic and humanitarian assistance for Ukraine, which he says is necessary to help its forces defeat Russian attacks. It's in addition to the $13.6 billion already approved in March. That's as figures show the US economy shrank 1.4% in the first quarter of 2022, raising concerns of a recession. Elsewhere, the European Union's announced it will begin winding back several COVID-19 measures. From Brussels, Trent Murray reports.
Between 60 and 80% of the EU population is estimated to have been infected with COVID-19, according to new estimates from the European Commission. The data comes as the bloc prepares to enter what it describes as a post-emergency phase of the pandemic. With a recent drop in infections and deaths linked to coronavirus, the EU also says it will start moving away from mass testing and the reporting of cases. But they've also warned that fresh surges and mutations in the future are likely and have called on member states to have plans in place ready to respond.
And Tesla chief executive Elon Musk has sold billions of dollars in stock in his electric vehicle making company after agreeing to buy Twitter. Caroline Malone has more details.
From Tuesday to Thursday, Elon Musk sold around $8.5 billion worth of Tesla stock, according to regulatory findings. That's after Twitter announced on Monday that they'd accepted an offer of $44 billion from Musk to buy the company. The Bloomberg Billionaires Index shows he's the world's richest man with a net worth of $252 billion. But much of it is tied up in his companies Tesla and SpaceX. Musk has to come up with $21 billion in cash to finance the Twitter deal.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. As we head into the third month of Russia's war on Ukraine, there's every indication that it is going to become a long, grinding conflict. But even if it is contained to Ukraine itself and does not drag NATO into direct conflict with Moscow, the Putin regime is now referring to the conflict as a proxy war between Russia and the United States. That was the phrase that Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov used earlier this week, and Foreign Affairs analyst Tim Marshall thinks that on this occasion, Vladimir Putin's top foreign affairs advisor is right.
He's not talking about a nuclear war. He's warning that you can't rule that out. It's because they're rattled. They saw the two American Secretaries of State, Defense and the State Department, show up in Kyiv over the weekend and openly saying what they're going to be giving the Ukrainians. They even listed the weapons. The Americans, I think, have made the calculation that they can shift this crisis from what was simply trying to manage it, damage limitation on the Ukrainian side, into a strategic opportunity to really inflict damage on the Russians themselves. So it is a proxy war, I'm afraid.
Russia's Ministry of Education says children will be taught about the justification for the war when they return to Russia's classrooms for a new academic year in September, suggesting the Kremlin thinks the conflict will still be underway then. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
A reminder again of this week's top stories. Ukrainian officials say Russian strikes have hit Kiev as the United Nations Secretary General visited the Ukrainian capital. US President Joe Biden is asking Congress to approve $33 billion in new aid for Ukraine. As figures show, the US economy shrank 1.4% in the first quarter. And the European Union's announced it will begin winding back several COVID-19 measures, including mass testing and case reporting. That's the latest feature story news. I'm Benji Haya in Washington.
This is the news in brief from the United Nations. Ukraine's humanitarian crisis is continuing to worsen, and to help communities